I'm Robert,
I'm Deaja.
and we're doing our policy fact sheet on overcrowded prisons in California. Why are California prisons overcrowded? From 1982 to 2000, California prison populations increased by 500%. To accommodate this population growth, the state of California built 23 new prisons at a cost of 280 million to 35 million apiece. In 2012, the population rose again, and people were sleeping in bunk beds in the middle of communal areas around cells, mainly due to recidivism. Here are some facts about California prisons. U.S. Supreme Court Brown versus Plata ruled that overpopulated prisons is cruel and an unusual punishment which violates the 14th Amendment. Each inmate in California costs approximately $71,000. Each people are being released from prisons and not being helped re-entering the real world. Court rulings have required the state to spend billions improving medical care. 2.2 billion of the state money is slated for county jail constructions, and Democratic Governor Jerry Brown transferred responsibility for thousands of felons from the state counties.
Now here are a few of our policy alternatives. The first is to change the three-strike policy. The three-strike policy is being convicted of a new felony after you've previously been convicted of 2 or more prior serious or violent felonies. The third strike would also have to be considered a serious or violent felony. Under the third strike, you would be looking at facing 25 years to life and being ineligible for probation. Prop 36 became effective, which allows convicted felons to petition for a lower sentencing. Any felons can petition for this, except those convicted of sex crimes, drug crimes of a large amount, deadly weapon charges, etc. About 3,000 felons that were convicted of a nonviolent crime were able to petition for a reduced sentence. This then led to Prop 47, which is what allowed those convicted of a low-level drug charge or theft-related charges to petition to have those charges changed to misdemeanors.
Another one is to build more facilities, but do we really need it? The newest rehabilitation center is in Stockton, California. That cost about $295 million annually. The state has also faced increased costs for prescription medications, including $60.6 million per year for new hepatitis C treatments. The state staff facilities usually uses a simple formula: for every 6 new inmates, the department hired 1 new staff member. Building rehabilitation centers can eliminate around 48,000 beds and save taxpayers around $561 million and through up to $684 million per year, which is roughly 5% of the year's corrections budget. Another one we have is to lower mandatory sentences. California inmates, for example, get paid for sweeping their cell blocks and earning nothing for attending classes. Furthermore, inmates should get shorter sentences for attending classes. February 22nd, 1995, as of the end of January 1995, there were 4,161 persons in state prisons for conviction of a second strike and 120 offenders convicted of a third strike. In most cases, California does not have mandatory minimum for drug crimes. Depending on the circumstances, it may be possible for the defendant to avoid jail time entirely by participating in a diversion program, such as the Deferred Entry of Judgment program, which allows eligibility defendants to stay out of jail in return for successful completing a treatment program. For example, if the defendant is convicted of being under the influence, of a controlled substance in public, which is a violation of California Health and Safety Code 11550, the judge will impose a mandatory minimum sentence of 90 days or about 3 months.
And lastly, our last alternative is realignment. As of 2011, individuals with non-serious, non-violent, or non-sex-related sentences would serve their time in jail, in county jails, on probation, or in treatment programs instead of in prison. The responsibility of lower-level felons would now be put on counties and probation officers. Prison populations decreased about 7,800 once Prop 47, which is to reduce the offenses against drug and property theft, was in effect between 2014 and 2015. Lastly, months after Prop 47 was passed, the jail populations decreased as well.